All right. Hey folks. So this is a quick update to a second version, or say a quick iteration on the Claude Agent SDK that Jamie introduced a few weeks ago. All right. We added a few features. I fleshed out a few things. There are a bit unfinished sections in these, so it may or may not work like a few things. So quick demo. Alright, so settings, a lot of things are carried over as it is from Jamie's version. We just changed a bit of backend and how things are exactly being handled. So you have your regular settings, your Anthropic key and stuff. Yeah, you can use your Claude Code with the Anthropic key that you set inside Drupal, or you can set it up manually, log in manually out there through a terminal that I'll show in a moment. So Sidecar is a new little feature. So Sidecar actually pipes the Claude Code TUI, the TUI version of Claude Code, into your Drupal. Um, I'll quickly show that. Before we go to the terminal, let's go through a couple of other features. So agent profiles. So agent profiles allows you to like define profiles with permissions, tools, and stuff. I think some parts of this was there in Jamie's implementation. It was. Either way, you can have you can define a set of parameters that would be passed to the uh, Claude's arguments and stuff, and that way you can control what you do with that profile, that specific profile. Yeah, you can define your tools and MCP servers, environments, like your working directories, if you want to like lock it down to a directory and stuff. You can add different profiles. This is a default profile that comes with it. Its default mode is plan mode. It's on it and its model. You can add more agents, sorry, more profiles, which you can use with your skills or terminals or even any Claude Code session that we are going to use next. Next is a little interesting addition, agent skills. So I was going through the agent skills websites. I think it's called agent skills research or something like that. And also the Anthropic skills documentations and stuff. They had a pretty good way of explaining how you can use YAML files for skills. So we have brought some of its concepts into Drupal. These skills get synced as a synced into your content, sorry, config inside Drupal, so you can export it into your file system so that it would be accessible by your Cloud Code in your Drupal site, or yeah, or any SDKs or whatever harnesses that you use later. Or you can sync it back from a file system. So imagine tomorrow you are gonna dump like a lot of skills that you got from your work, something interesting that you wanna try. You can just dump it into your file system and just sync them here. These are just some community-made skills. I forgot the name of the guy who had all these skills in their repo. These are pretty nice small skills. I occasionally use them. So yeah, I synced them all from a file system. I did not like sit and recreate everything, but you can create them. Yeah, skills are mostly simple. So the skills that you create from the Drupal admin UI are very simple. It doesn't have the scripts and everything that you probably would like to have in your skills if it's doing some kind of complicated operations. But yeah, here you can have simple instructions to say, well, let's just create a skill, now call it hello, say hello, hello. research. Drupal. Okay. I think normally you would have a little more, skills, but this guess is fine. Okay. Save, and it should be here. Yeah, I'll change the sort order. It's weird right now. Also, you can upload skills, so you can either have your standard zip files. Uh, so zip files are also what you normally use in your Claude.ai environment, where you also upload .zip files with skills, or you can use simple markdown files, which would be similar to what we just did a moment ago. All right. So on save, when I just created an agent scale on save, it syncs back into the file system, like it creates that markdown file for data use. Just give me a minute. Okay. Next is scheduled task. So this was something interesting. These are test entries, ignore them. But here you can specify a skill to be scheduled on a repeat, on some basis. Let me just quickly show you. I probably cannot like demo the whole thing. That would like uh, ask me to wait for days. Maybe I can run it for the next minute. Too much. Right. So here you can define your tasks, select a skill that needs to be run. So P of the hello world. You remember the hello world that we just created. You have that as a skill running. Say hello world everything. Oh yeah, one random interesting task that I just came up with. So every couple of days there are like new models being released out there, like for some specialized tasks or anything. So maybe you could have a simple little skill that says research XYZ, you know, news sources. It could be Hugging Face, it could be Twitter, it could be a few news sources or a few profiles that put like genuine updated articles and stuff every day, or news updates. Maybe maybe ask it to scan your Gmail for specific newsletters, and then you can have it scheduled for daily, and it would just uh find you all the information, put it into an MD file. You could have a skill like that. Maybe you can even have an automated blog. Like, yeah, that would be like AI generated blog. Or you could have an automated blog, draft it. Like every day it would draft a blog, and you just have to go to your website in the end of the day, check out the blog, and be like, okay, this is a draft that AI generated. Like go through it and yeah, publish it or do whatever. So this is one way. Another little use case, another interesting use case that I just remembered from one of the old projects that I worked on is, take for example a legal aid organization. So they have this bunch of articles based on different laws and all those kinds of things, right? Uh, and these laws often change. Uh, small laws or these things often change here and there, like different specs of these laws over a few months, or maybe every year something changes here and there. If we imagine America, yeah, I'm not an American, so I might be a bit wrong here, since they have a lot of different states there, and these states have a lot of different kind of laws. So something that's legal in this state might be illegal in this other state. That's what I've heard. I'm not sure. So you could have this little skill where you just prompted, hey, check out these news sources or databases for latest information, and go through these articles, these set of articles. Maybe your article has some tag that ties it to a specific county or a state or whatever, and you could just ask your skill to scan and update it if needed. Have a draft version at least published. Sorry, have a draft version ready, and maybe you can run it weekly. Of course, not on a Monday, maybe on a Thursday because it takes a lot of resources. So yeah, weekly, a Thursday, set a time when your traffic is like really low, and then save it away. So that way it would run like every week on that specific time. Do all the scanning, prepare the drafts, put it in your content, in your content tab. You can log in next week and check out them, update them, accept the updates or whatever that you do. Yeah, content tab. I think there is a similar version of this developed by some other devs in the Drupal community. This might not exactly be a new feature, but I just like the option to, have an existing skill run or put a custom prompt along with the skill, uh, you know, tie it with a profile, custom profile, so on. Right. And for that, next is sessions. This this is a feature that I'm probably gonna remove from the agent SDK because I really like the version that Marcus presented a week ago, I think, about a deep agent debugging thing that he developed in the AI agents module, where you could see the whole conversations and debug things. Right now, this version doesn't have a good UI, and most of it things, the data is not exactly correct. It just shows right now, but some of these tests were done like yesterday. And the messages UI is also not that good. As you can see, hey, can you check the code base? Assistant did some things, it's not able to exactly get the, right now it's only showing the output content. That's right. Not everything is being printed here. This was a run that I did um, in a previous quick demo. Similarly, yeah, here's another. It's a, so it was doing something that I interrupted. Okay. No. But yeah, that's a quick idea of it. Sessions. I don't want to keep sessions here. Probably remove it and move it to that module. Have it somehow work with that module, have a dependency there. Claude terminal. So if you remember the sidecar project, sorry, the sidecar feature, uh, that is a TUI streamer sort of thing, like pipes your TUI apps. Right now, I've obviously kept Claude Code as the app behind it. Yeah, obviously put anything, you can just have even an empty terminal. This list, here we have a list of all the skills auto discovered from auto discovered from your file system, and yes, you can skills, send it. It starts a Claude Code session, sends your hello world into it. Since this is an initial version or development, there are a few issues in this module. It's not exactly ready to be distributed, but yes, it's discriminated. Sorry guys, I got a bad cough 2 days ago. Sure. Yeah, I'm just gonna interrupt this. But, I mean, yeah. So real time stuff, whatever. It's just a Cloud Code, nothing new in here. Interrupted, yeah, it's your complete Cloud Code experience as is your all your slash commands and stuff. So the idea of this is you can at least have your Cloud Code TUI apps running through Drupal. You can access them, use them if you need. So yeah, that was Cloud Code. Debug. It's just a bunch of debug options. Now, one interesting thing that we did here is this whole module is not just another wrapper around Cloud Code. Sure, we named it Cloud Code Agent SDK now, but it's actually a wrapper around two things. One is the Cloud Code uh, TUI. Another is the Anthropix Agent SDK. So we are using Anthropix Agent SDK in combination with this one, TUI. So we are using TUI for things where you need these interactive controls or the terminal that you just saw. So that's actually the only place where TUI is being properly used. In all other places, it's just using the agent SDK with uh, with flags allowing, all the permissions and stuff. It's not exactly safe. There are things that we still need to, like fix and polish. But yeah, that is most of it. Mm. This debug panel was there before. If you watched Jamie's video, you might recognize it. Mostly same. That was pretty much it with this demo. So we might push this as a version one, after cleaning up a few of these things, like figure out how to connect it with the AI agents module and the AI module, or the version two of the AI module, and such. And there is a few features that I'm thinking about. I have jotted them down here. I am sort of working on them. One is remote runners and TUIs. So remote runners, I'm thinking, say you have another idle server with a clone of your website. Maybe you can have your Cloud Code running there, and you can connect it here and have your skills and stuff use that as a runner instead instead of this PC, or I mean your main server where you are actually interacting with the Cloud Code. So we could have like multiple runners, have them, maybe we could have like an option here called as runners. You could add configurations for these remote runners, different Cloud codes running on different servers, and then you can tie it with some agent profiles. That way you can have different servers using different instances of Cloud Code for different activities, whatever it may be. Next, I'm thinking is multi-harness support. Today we are calling it Cloud Code. Today we are calling it Cloud Agent SDK, but tomorrow it should be something like just an agent SDK. And this becomes like a harness where I'm able to like probably connect Codex, Copilot CLI, Open Code, Aider. Oh, actually, I did, randomly Google it, like how many of these harnesses are there, and there are like over 30 of these harnesses. It's insane. Yeah, maybe we get to, create a harness of the harness for all 30 of them, and also allow a, you know, hardness to harness kind of context switching sort of thing. Say, for example, so I was going through these Reddit conversations and found that people are using Codex for debugging and fixing more, Cloud Code for planning and just initial implementation if it's a greenfield sort of project. And people keep mentioning that it's a really good workflow. Maybe they can have a similar experience built into Agent SDK, where you have these harness of harnesses, all orchestrating between each other. That's weird. And yeah, another obvious feature that I already mentioned you is connecting it with the debugger that Chris develops. And last is the MCP enhancements. So unloading and offloading MCPs on the fly based on the need, similar to how skills work. Maybe we can package MCPs behind a skill. Not sure how to exactly do that. I think you mentioned tools in your skills and have them like auto discovered and loaded. If I remember right, Claude Code is experimenting it about auto-loading MCPs based on need and not like keeping all the enabled MCPs in context all the time. But yeah, these are some features that I'm sort of jotting down. Like I've architected just a bit of its backend and stuff. Maybe once we polish this whole thing out, like clean up this version, we'll bring in those features as well. All right, then. Thank you, folks. Thank you for listening through this whole video.